Welcome everybody to the Droid Effect live on air hangout. We are live, and I'm going to apologize ahead of time if I tune out a little bit because I am refreshing the browser to buy the Android watch. By the way, joining me with, excuse me, gosh, I can't talk today. Joining me today is Damir, Franc, and Jammar Deboise. I keep hitting refresh. You guys want to say hi?
Pound the F5 button to death.
I know. And in case you didn't know, I'm talking about Android Wear, the LG watch, and the Samsung one should be going live in about any minute now. So if you kind of see me looking over here, it's because I keep hitting that refresh button.
Did they announce the price yet?
$199 for the LG and 220, I think.
Oh, okay, that's okay.
For the, I know the Samsung one is more expensive. Why? I'm not sure yet. But anyway, sorry. I apologize ahead of time. I really want to get this watch, and it so happens that it's going to be at the time we went live. So we're going to be talking about Google I/O today. There's a lot of good stuff that happened today. I think what was really exciting. Did you guys see how they used an iPhone?
I did. I couldn't watch that.
You what?
I didn't get to that part. I saw it real quick, but since I had to skip it because we had the Hangout, I didn't get to it now.
I like that Google does not discriminate. I like that they just basically showed the world, look what we're doing, guys, and no need to bash. They did a great job, and that's the way it should be. So, yep, good job, Google, for not going down to that level.
Well, wait. Since Sundar did poke a little bit. He made a comment earlier on where he made the statement about our innovations happened about 3 or 4 years ago. Remember that one?
Yeah.
He had the nice chart talking about Android progress.
Yeah, with the keyboards and
the
widgets. Yeah.
Here's the thing. There's a difference between bringing out facts or just straight up just bashing. But
I thought it was a friendly jab. I didn't think it was anything,
I don't think he stepped out of line, though.
No, not at all.
It's not like it's not like he said, that other company with hell stew and all that other, those other words that they use. So.
Right.
But.
All right. So, Armando, you just want to get into actually. I'm probably going to go against a little bit against our show notes here, but I got to ask this question for you guys because I'm going to hold Google to the same standard which I held Apple after WWDC. Did we see anything innovative out of I/O this year? Any innovation?
Well, I think there's a lot of innovative features.
Right.
But I think that they're laying out the groundwork. You have obviously wearables. That's not something new.
Right.
But where it's headed, I think that is, it's going in the right direction. Same thing with Android Auto, which we kind of already knew about that before. I think let's put it this way: a lot of the things that are happening today are the result of innovative things to come. I think that's the best way to put it. I don't know if you agree with me.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so in my view, I don't think we saw anything new today. I agree with you, Armando, from the perspective that we saw a lot of groundwork laying. A lot of groundwork was being laid today. But I think we saw a lot of evolving. We saw a lot of evolution of current features, basically making them better. And I think that in that evolution, I mean, look, when I compare Android to the other mobile operating systems out there, I have come to a point with Android where if they asked me what I wanted as a new feature, I literally wouldn't know. There's nothing that I can think of right now, aside from some tweaks here and there with apps, like app-specific things. But like so far as the system itself, that I can really say it really needs this. Like with my Windows device or with my Apple device, I can say, well, I want Google Now to work better. I want it to be more integrated. I want, they got the replaceable keyboards now, which was great. So they had some ground to cover there. But with this keynote, I really didn't know what I wanted going into it. So I saw evolutions. I didn't really see innovation. I would say I did see one innovation, and that was when they had the Chromebook. They had the Android apps running on the Chromebook.
Oh yeah.
Now
Yeah.
I thought,
But here's the thing, when I get my hands on that watch, the very first thing that I'm going to do is make a video showing you guys how I tie that in with my home automation and being able to just use my watch and say, okay, Google, do this or that. I mean, when you show that to somebody, that in itself is pretty innovative, that you're able to do that.
Yeah.
But, again, I think that was it something that was mind-blowing? No. But I think, to say the least, there's still innovative features. How it stacks up in the level of coolness or awesome, it just depends on the person, I guess. But
okay. All right, so Armando, over to you. Back to the show notes. We're talking Android L.
Okay, well, I think because here's the most important thing. I think because Google, since they are the search giant, they have people browse the web. They can do things that no other company can. With all these new things that tie in with Google search, the integration with Chrome apps, it's just very powerful stuff that other companies, phone companies out there just can't do. And I think that in itself is innovative. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but stuff that was happening in the keynote where even like, let's say you do a search on your computer, and I know this happens now, but the fact that when you pick up your phone and it says, let's say, and I've done this a lot of times, I'll search something, let's say, like a new ladder that I want to buy at Home Depot, and the next thing you know, I pick up my phone and it says, would you like to navigate to Home Depot? I think that in itself is so innovative that how does it know that, what, I was looking for a ladder at home, to buy at Home Depot, and it immediately when I pick up my phone, it knows that maybe I want to go to this Home Depot. So I think because Google has search, can tie all of these things together, I think that it's going to be very hard to compete with them in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
And I think that today they showcase that with wearables, Android Auto, Android TV. They're basically saying, look, your whole entire life of tech life is all going to be tied in beautifully into one solid experience. I think that was at least what I got out of it.
So Damir, what was your impressions of Android L?
The one thing I maybe
by the way,
like.
Android Wear is now available right now, and I'm sorry, I have to buy this. Proceed to checkout and select an address. I can't do this any quicker because I'm like freaking out that it's going to get sold out. Done. I'm sorry. I sound like a fanboy right now. 257.31 was the grand total. I just bought my LG watch, Black Titan. That's a cool name. $229, $9.99 for shipping. Tax $18.32. Sorry, I apologize for the interruption. I was really excited.
It's okay.
And anyway, go ahead, Damir.
So the one thing I maybe liked the most was the material design, because the app design, because it makes a lot of big difference if the design is so much better, because Android itself was pretty functional anyways. So it's nice to see the look catch up with all the functionality. That's what I liked a lot. So yeah, and Project Volta was something I hope will improve the battery life, because since 4.4.3 mine is terrible, same as for Jammar.
Yeah.
I really hope this makes a difference.
Well, they said on the Nexus 5 there was a good amount of battery improvement.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope so. I hope it does. But the other thing I like, they catch up a lot of the customer perspective, because I see a lot of features I used to only know from customers, like the lock screen notifications and this stuff. And it's nice to see this coming over to stock. That's a pretty nice thing.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how a lot of the ROM things that we are, I guess, used to or we get to play with. We later see them being adopted by Google,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think that's.
Yeah, but
I think
it's like this. How does it heads-up display where it shows the notifications if you're in a full screen app? It shows up. That was a hidden KitKat feature, and now all the custom ROMs implemented it. Exposed implemented it. But when Google already had it, why didn't they use it already? Maybe it wasn't up for public right now, but that's a really great feature. I use it since I got it. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a nice feature.
Yeah,
Though I will say, iOS has kind of had that for a long time. Kind of those little.
yeah, okay. Some apps had it already too, but it's nice to see it on a system level base.
Oh, I absolutely
Yeah.
agree, 100%.
Well, and you know what, Armando, I have to pick it. So my what did we get out of L? We got the material design, which is beautiful in my opinion.
Yeah.
I've for the past month I've actually been considering, going back to iOS when the iPhone 6 comes out, trying to cheat a little bit. Seeing the material design completely shifted my mindset on that.
Yeah.
Particularly when they did have the iPhone out for and Damir, you didn't catch this part, but they had a Chromecast section and they had the iPhone out, and they were going through some of the features of the Chromecast using the iPhone. And what I saw was that after we saw the material design, and then I looked at the iPhone home screen with just the icons on it, I said, God, that looks so dated. And knowing that, it looked very dated after seeing material design in action.
Yeah, but the thing with material is the apps. We need the apps that have it. Right now, it's maybe some of the basic Google apps, but I hope developers will pick up pretty soon.
Well, you know how people say, I need my coffee, right? I kind of felt like I needed my Google I/O, because I'm gonna be honest, when I saw the Apple keynote, a couple of weeks ago, Jammar, you probably felt the same way. I had that feeling where, you know what, I might just try the iPhone again because I felt a little, let's just say, lonely. You know what I mean?
Yep. I know exactly.
And you know what? It was just, I don't know, I just felt like there wasn't really a lot of activity going on with Android. It was just kind of there. And, don't get me wrong, by the way, I love Android. I bleed green, but it was just, let's put it this way. I wanted to try something new. And it didn't have to be iOS. It could have been Windows if they would have come out with something. If they would have come out with something fun. But, I felt like Apple had stepped up their game, and I said, you know what, I want to try something. But I'm going to tell you right now, after today, you know what I was saying earlier, how everybody says, I need my coffee? Oh, my goodness. I am supercharged. You don't even know. Like, the whole... Today was just a good day. I am so excited where Android is headed, and I wish there was a Google I/O every 6 months. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. And the same goes for me. Like I said, I was looking in stores for something for the past couple of days, and there's just really nothing out there. So I was looking to cheat a little bit up until today. But what did we get? What did we get from Al? We got the material design, which is the big thing. Damir, I personally think that the devs are going to latch on to this. And the reason why I think is because Android is in a totally different place than it was when they introduced Holo. It's just in a totally different place so far as sales and so far as just adoption rates. It's just in a different place. And I think part of that counts to the 62% of the tablet market share that they have. That number that Sundar threw up there, about the 62% of tablet market share that they own right now. And then the billion activations, that they have. The numbers are too huge to deny, particularly considering the $5 billion that they paid out to developers last year. So, there are these numbers there that are behind the scenes that I think the devs are going to jump on board. Plus, we're seeing more of the big apps update their UIs to accommodate the current, Holo.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty confident with that. But out of L, again, we got the lock screen notifications, which, as Armando said,
I love that. I actually posted it on Google Plus. I really, really like that.
Yeah, I love the locks, the way I like the lock screen notifications. It's not that Android didn't have that to some capacity, whether it be through an app or through the notification shade itself, being able to pull it down on the lock.
Yeah, but that's not the same.
But
Right.
you know, it's kind of. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Amanda.
I was gonna say, you know, it's kind of like we were saying. There's a lot of things that even, you know, I use a Pebble watch, and one of the things that I have set up is whenever my Pebble watch is synced to my phone via Bluetooth, I don't need to use a password to unlock my phone. So now that, yeah, I was able to shoehorn using Tasker and, you know, doing all that stuff, but it's nice to know that Google has implemented that as a system level type thing where I don't need to use Tasker. I could just easily, you know, you know what they say, that famous word, it just works. Just works. I like that. And by the way, as I get older and more, let me just say this, as I have less time because I have kids now, I can appreciate the simplicity or the finer things of just being able to pick something up and having it work without me having to do anything. I don't know. I like that. So the fact that you know, not only the LG watch but the Android wearables can do that, and also Chromebooks. Remember he talked about where you can have your phone and you're able to. And I know Apple did something similar with the MacBook Pro and stuff like that, and I like that. I like that integration. I think that it's really fun. I see a lot of questions that we're getting hammered with, and I want to answer a couple of them. So let's go ahead and let's pick one.
Can I quickly say something before I forget?
What do you guys think?
Yeah,
go ahead.
There was one thing that bugged me kind of, because you saw the nice material design, you saw the new OS, the look and feel, it's so great. But I remembered one thing: what if Samsung comes to the case, or LG, and they put on their skin? They will screw it up eventually. Why can't they just stick the stock OS look? It looks so nice. Why change anything? It's not necessary anymore. It was back then when Android 2.0, 2.3, but since 4, no. And
I agree. I think
you can include all those features without screwing up the design.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I think Google has, obviously the hooks are there to be able to do that. Yeah. There's no need to, you know, have these nonsense. I mean, I say nonsense because I don't use them, but they may be useful to somebody. So, but yeah, I agree. So let's answer a question here, and I think this one by Gian. I apologize if I am not saying your name correctly. Gian Tap Thing. What do you think of the protesters? Did you guys hear about that? The protesters. What did you guys think of those people? You know what? It's so funny because when I was watching the keynote, I actually thought it was somebody outside my house that was fighting, and I could just hear. And I'm thinking, like, I was looking outside, just shut up, you know? I'm trying to watch this, and then I'm thinking, like, what is that? I didn't realize until after that. I guess there were some, you know, protesters. I didn't read too much into it. Do you guys know more about what they were fighting about?
Yeah. I mean, everything I read about it was, you know, that they were protesting, you know, Google being a big tech company, and I don't really know. Yeah, I really don't know what specifically they're protesting. I mean, they could be protesting anything, right? I mean, they own Boston Dynamics or Boston Electronics, you know, and they make things that support the U.S. military. I mean, they could be protesting that, but whatever they're protesting, whatever their message was, I will say this: I think Apple had a lot better security than Google did, because I didn't hear any protesters at the Apple conference. And they're both very large companies, and they both have their hooks and everything. I understand and I empathize.
That's because the security is open source.
Yeah, the security is open source. But you know, I don't believe that Google is Skynet yet. Yeah. But they can be called Nest. At the end of the day, I think that they mean well, and what they're doing is they're trying to just bring the internet to everybody, and they gain from that. They gain from that financially. That's their business model. They want to get the internet to everybody, and no one can really blame them for trying to do that. But I will say, conversely, on the other hand, we saw those kids in the audience, and I think this was a stark difference in the two keynotes. When they took that moment and they showed those children that were from the commercial that they shot, I thought that was a very human moment. I thought that was very that showed a great deal of humility for a large organization such as Google to point out those kids and say, look, these are the types of people that we're doing this for. Like, this is that next billion people they represent that. And I thought that was a huge thing that they did. I actually gained a lot of respect for them today for that.
Absolutely. Let's answer one more question because we have a lot of questions, and I want to make sure that we are able to participate with our audience because we do appreciate you guys tuning in and watching.
Absolutely.
And this one has received a lot of +1s. It has a total of 6 now. This is a question from Pablo Maldonado. So why do you guys think there was no hardware announcement? Do you think we will still see a new Nexus device? Well, we did see a couple of hardware announcements. The LG G Watch is a hardware announcement. Yeah. The Samsung Watch is another one. I mean, they're both watches. Also,
that's about
Android. Android Auto is a hardware announcement, but it's not something that you can buy today.
Right.
Now, in terms of, why didn't we see a new Nexus device? Usually, Nexus rollouts are every October. Usually, that's the every year. They tend to be in October. I think for those of you that don't know what L means, that's obviously the next letter of the sequence of rollout that we have. We have Kit Kat now. What's next? L. So whatever it is, Lemonhead, Lollipop. I think they're setting us up for what's coming in October whenever the new Nexus or Android Silver comes out, or whatever it's going to be called. I think that's what's coming. So at least those are my thoughts. What do you think, Damir? We'll start with you first.
So the first thing, why I think not, because it is a developer I/O.
Yes.
So that's the first thing. And the other thing I know, I read that somewhere. It is L, and L is 50 in Latin. So 50.50, I'm pretty sure it would be Android 5.0, even if they didn't say that. It matches perfectly. But no hardware, why should they? There's no need, because the next, I think it will come a 6 or whatever, and I hope it won't be 5.5 inches, and for the next Nexus 9 or anything, maybe earlier, I don't know. But I wasn't expecting any hardware besides the Android Wear.
Jammar?
Maybe Android TV or something like that, but they already announced some of them.
I mean, I'm in line with the Damir on one point, and I disagree with him on the other. I don't think we saw hardware because it's I/O, and we typically don't really see hardware announcements at I/O. Last year we saw the
Chromecast.
hardware. Say again?
Was it Chromecast, right? Last year?
Yeah. Last year we saw Chromecast as well as the Nexus 7 after I/O during the Breakfast with Google event, which no one expected to really see the Chromecast pop up. So, you know, if something's coming, I'm sure it's going to come after I/O. It's always kind of been that way. So far as the Nexus 6, I don't think we're going to see one. And here's why. During the keynote, they spoke about Android One, which was this initiative where they're trying to get their phones to the next billion people's hands. And what I took from that was those Nexus Ones are essentially what the Nexus program is. You're getting a low cost.
Yeah, but but Android One was pretty low end. They mentioned it with under $100. So I don't think Android One and Nexus and Android Silver is anything.
Well, I mean, and here's why I think that. So the Nexus program essentially got us great phones at a lower rate with stock Android and guaranteed updates. What they're doing with the Nexus One program is getting low-cost phones, not Nexus quality, but low-cost, with stock Android and guaranteed updates from Google. That's what they're doing. So I see.
Yep.
I mean, and again, I mean, that's why I said we have this is where we disagree.
But here's the one thing. Yeah, go on.
No, so I see the Android One program being what the Nexus program was. I do believe that we're going to see Android Silver down the pipe. I just don't know what it is, and I was a little disappointed that it was not even broached as a topic today.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Damir.
Yeah, but my main reason why I still want the Nexus is because I want one base to develop on. If all the developers get one device, and Android Silver, if they say are 5 devices, you need one ground base, I think, and that's the Nexus one, because every developer had an access. But if you have a LG Android Silver, a Sony Android Silver, there will be differences just because of the hardware. And I think there should be only one just for the development.
But remember,
You can add more, but there should be one ground base.
Yeah, remember, part of Android One is that this hardware is verified by Google. So they're basically saying, we've partnered with, Qualcomm and all these whatever other companies they're going to work with, and say, this is verified, so that way, if companies want to build and use those specific hardware pieces, they know that. And remember, one thing they said is, even though this hardware is not, I don't remember the right terminology. He didn't say cheap, but he basically said it was going to be premium type hardware, not something that you would just, like low end type stuff. But,
right. I think the Nexus branding is going to go away. Will there always be reference devices? I mean, there probably will be. I agree with you, Damir, that's for Android as I know it. For the time I've been with Android, it almost feels like a requirement that you have to have that. But I don't know what Google has cooking under the hood, and it feels to me like they're doing something here where they're trying to unify everything. They're actually closing up a little more, in my view, than in the past under the Android flag. They're closing the ecosystem more and they're controlling it more. But I think that's just by necessity at this point.
Yeah, okay, I agree. That's a good thing. Everything gets closer together, but I think then innovation will be lost, because if everyone's the same, it will be mostly the design that will differentiate the devices, but no hardware features at all, because they need to. That's a kind of win and lose.
Yeah, it is.
That was a great question, though. By the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
From our viewer.
All right, so let's move on. Death of Dalvik.
that was my.
Yeah.
The death of Dalvik.
Yeah, Death of Dalvik. So we know that Art is going to be the new runtime.
Yep.
We knew it for a while.
Yeah, I haven't had really good experiences with Art, but then again, I tried it when it first came out, so I know it was really in beta. I mean, technically it's still in beta, but I'm still running Dalvik. There's also a lot of applications that didn't run good with Art.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to see that we're obviously going in that direction, and hopefully I think a lot of developers will, now that they are aware of, will update their applications. Should be a big improvement, not only in battery life, but and how applications perform too. So, kind of excited about that.
Yep. It was necessary. It was necessary because Dalvik was getting old and was a relic. It was a time. It's okay.
I mean, I think the big thing about Art was what they were saying was in the L release is that it was going to be 64-bit ready to go, and so that gets. I mean, again, that's the necessary evolution, Damir, that you're speaking to. That's just one of those things where, in order to get the beautiful experience we need, we got to do this. And unlike where at the iOS conference they introduced like an entire new program language. Google just introduced a new runtime to kind of facilitate everything that's needed. So, I think that it's a necessary step. I think, we'll see. I've tried Art and I did not have a good experience with it. And I'm more like Armando these days. I'm kind of the old man where I just want my stuff to work and I don't want to tinker too much. Just enough, but not a lot.
Wait. I just noticed we have the Android Wear even here in Germany.
Oh, so why don't you
I didn't expect that. Yeah.
Well, what's
I don't have a credit card. I don't have a credit card. 199 and.
What? No, but what's the shipping? What's the shipping time frame now?
Wait. Yeah, but I don't even have a credit card. I can't.
Maybe I should.
It says 4th of July. 4th of July.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
That's not bad. No.
Yeah, maybe it was earlier, but since I didn't see it before. Maybe
I think they're smart and they anticipate that a lot of people, go out and buy this. Now let's talk about stuff that we did not see at I/O. I'll start off with home automation. I really thought that they were going to touch on home automation, and they really didn't, especially with the acquisition of Nest. Kind of expected a little bit more on it. We didn't see I don't think we even saw anything really on home automation. And you guys know I'm a huge home automation guru, and I was a little disappointed on that, just because I was really expecting something more of a kind of a way to respond to Apple's home automation that they've just released, or really haven't released, but we're at least talking about it. So I guess Apple sort of beat them to the punch when it came to at least letting the world know that this is what they're going to do next. What else did we not hear about that were kind of rumored?
Before Damir goes, Armando, I have a theory on that, Armando, and it was actually after we talked about it. So Google has like a pretty bad name when it comes to, like, a lot of people don't trust Google so far as from a privacy perspective, right?
Sure.
And when you look at what they're doing, Nest, it bought Dropcam. So to the public eye, Nest owns Dropcam. Maybe there's some strategy here. Maybe we won't see Google come out with a home automation service. Maybe it'll be under the Nest umbrella. It may just be kind of a top cover approach where you don't want to put Google's name on home anything because you already have enough problems with people because you have search. Like a lot of people, you say Google, they're like, I don't want anything that Google makes because they're harvesting my data and they're blah 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 blah. So maybe Google is just like, you know what? Hey, we'll let Nest do all that acquisition stuff, and we'll sit back and we will be a partner in whatever ecosystem that Nest builds. So it's going to be Google's, but I think it's just going to be under the Nest banner. That's just kind of my crazy conspiracy talk. But.
Yeah, and you know what? You're probably right. I don't know. I was hoping that they would at least say something about it, or at least give us a demo. I know several years ago they did kind of touch on home automation and being able to control lights and stuff, and it goes back to what I was saying before. I like that even with my Pebble Watch I'm able to do things, but now everything is a lot easier. And same thing with home automation. I'm able to do a lot of things, but it takes a lot of effort on my end to be able to make them work seamlessly. Where if I could just buy something, and it just works right out of the box, I'd like to see how Apple is going to tackle that. So I guess I just was hoping to see something like that. But what else did we miss that we were kind of hoping to hear at Google I/O?
All right, Damir, you're up.
I don't really know. I think we heard pretty much everything. Maybe not in that extent that we expected, but we got Android L, we got Android Wear, we got even the Android TV, and with some of the Chrome stuff. And that's the one thing I like so pretty much, because the material design, and when I saw with all the Chromebook stuff, I really wished for a desktop OS from Google, because it all looked so nicely put together, and that's the one thing Google doesn't have. And I don't consider Chromebook or Chrome OS as
that if Google did come out with a desktop, high performance, I can run my Photoshop, I can run all my applications. Yeah,
I want that. I want that. Since I saw the new design it would fit so perfect.
It's so funny you say that, because by the way, I use a PC for my desktop, and I use a Mac for my laptop.
Yeah, same as me.
And I like a lot of things on the Mac, but there's a lot of things I hate on the Mac. There's a lot of things I like on Windows, but there's a lot of things I hate about Windows too. And I almost feel like if there was a system that just the things that I love on both operating systems would just kind of become one, it would be just something that I would be looking forward to Google providing. And the funny thing is, I think Google can do it. They would just have to talk to, I would think they would just have to talk with companies and say, hey, like, for example, Adobe, we're coming out with this operating system. Can you guys release a version of, your Adobe suite to work with our whatever operating system they call it? They're not going to call it Chrome OS, but, whatever they call it.
No, but since we already have Photoshop Touch and stuff, I think that's definitely something that could happen. I could see that.
So, I guess in my view, what we didn't hear about the Hangouts SMS integration. I think I got 3 or 4 Hangouts messages, particularly from our friend Carlo, who was on with us during the last live Hangout with our viewers. A lot of people were expecting to see that. I didn't really expect to see it, but it's just kind of one of those things we didn't see that I think everybody wanted to see. We didn't see. Well, we saw the Moto 360 multiple times, but did you hear the crowd? So he said the LG G Watch is going to be available today. Everybody's like, yay, the Samsung, blah, blah, blah. And then everybody was like, whatever. And then someone was like, the Moto 360 this summer. Oh, yeah. So clearly, that was a downer for me because I was like, oh, say it, I'll order it right now. So I'm going to hold out for the 360, but I will be waiting for your review, Armando, on the...
Here's the thing. I think that Moto 360, from what we've seen, just looks sexy, man. It is.
Yep.
But I have to get my hands on. You know what? And I think that goes back to what I was saying about Apple earlier, where I felt like I wanted to not switch to an iPhone, but use it. I just love technology, man. I'm a geek, and I get excited. So I'm like you. Sometimes you ever feel that itch where you want to go out to a store and buy something just because you're bored. You want to.
I've done it.
You want to play with a gadget,
That was my last impulse buy right here.
Yeah. And I feel like that. The LG watch. I mean, let me go back. Let me look at it.
Yeah, but checking the specs, I'm not really sure because the LG has I think worse display, but therefore the bigger battery. So it's. Oh wait, no. Yeah, it does.
Well, I mean, looking at it aesthetically, it's not the best looking thing, but I gotta play with it, and just
yeah.
Well, you know what though? I saw many of the guys from Google up on stage with the LG G Watch on. It didn't look bad. I mean, like them walking around with it, it didn't look unnatural.
You have to see it in person. I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, like I didn't personally seeing it on stage from a monitor. It didn't look unnaturally huge or anything of that nature.
Okay.
And the one last thing for me that was a disappointment. So I'm a huge Android, a big set-top box guy, and I think everybody who watches me and knows that I love set-top boxes. So to see Android TV, and I know we'll get into that later, but I loved it. But I was a little upset that it wasn't a set-top box. Like, they were like, go buy a TV with it installed. And I was like, well, my TV upstairs in the bedroom needs to be replaced. So I'll do it. I'm going to do it anyway. But I would have liked to have seen like a little, or at least had it thrown into the Chromecast or something. I would have bought another set-top box for it. But for me, that was the only thing. But other than those things, I think, it was a bang-up shop.
Yep.
They did it.
All right, let's answer another question. By the way, can you guys see the questions?
Yeah, we see them.
You guys want to go ahead and pick? I picked the last couple ones. Go ahead and let's go ahead and Damir, pick.
The first one is, what do we think about the latest Google search update allowing OK Google in any app? And I'm not really surprised because we saw that if you have exposed framework already, so it's nice to see on stock, definitely, but it's not surprising.
By the way, our question was from Michael Newman.
Oh, yeah.
I actually, it's so funny you mentioned that. I have the exposed framework to be able to have the capability to be able to do OK Google on any application. Even though I have it, I haven't even really used it because I know it drains more battery. So,
I did a video and I used the browser.
Let's face it, I think Moto X did it best. The one time you really want to use it is when the device is off.
Yeah.
I think I don't care to use it while I'm browsing Google Plus and say okay Google because it's not that important to me.
Yep.
To me it's when the phone is 2 or 3 feet away and I'm just like okay Google what's the weather or whatever or okay Google remind me to do this. I think that, by the way, the Find 7 has that. I was actually
the OnePlus should too.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah, but it should. You should say hey Snapdragon.
They must have disabled it because I see no.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember somebody reviewing it and doing that, but as far as I've tried it. I looked into it. I didn't say, okay.
I have to check it once I have it. Yeah.
Yeah. The
that's one thing
the Find 7 does have it. It actually works pretty well. I'm surprised, but.
So I mean, look, my view on the search update, and I shared this before we went on the air. Damn it, big win. And that's at odds with the guys. But you know, I think it was I'm not a rooter. I'm not somebody who roots my phone. I don't use Exposed Now framework. I don't do that stuff. It's great, I know, and I know there's merit in rooting the phone. I just have not done it because I'm lazy. Period. That's all it comes down to. I don't feel like rooting things and flashing ROMs. I'm good without it. So seeing seeing it go across all apps now, regardless of what you're doing, is a big win for me because I use voice a lot. So there's that. Can I take one of these real quick, Armando?
Yeah. Go ahead. And like I said, I want to participate with our audience because again, we do appreciate you guys viewing. Which I keep seeing it fluctuate, but we have about 115, 120 viewers tuning in right now. And again, thank you guys for joining us this evening or wherever you guys are. It could be morning somewhere else. I know you guys could do other things, and we appreciate it. So go ahead, Jammar.
I am the question just like dropped down somewhere. We're getting a lot of them in here, and so I'm trying to.
I see one I like.
Go ahead, Damir. Take yours.
No, it's not really a question, but it says Find 7 versus OnePlus, and that's one thing I would really like to know myself. Yeah, but it wasn't a question.
One of the questions, and I can't find it right now, but I do remember it when I saw it, and the basic question was. What do we think now is and I'm probably going to butcher the question, but it was like something to the effect of, you know, you've got Apple, you've got Android, and are the lines pretty clear now as to which one you should buy? Because of
by the way, that's a really good question. I'm trying to look for it so that we can give that person credit.
I want to give them credit for it. It had like 2+1s at the time.
Man, we have a lot of questions, and it's kind of hard. But yeah, that's a really good question. Go ahead, Jammar.
I think I saw it. Yeah, it's there from Epic T. Do you think after today the incentive to own either all Android or all iOS devices is more clear?
I went ahead and selected that, so it is by Epic T. Do you think after today the incentive to own either all Android or all iOS devices is becoming more clear? Go ahead, Jammar, since that was your person.
Do I think that after today the incentive? Thank you. Yes, I do. And I guess I'll lay it out like this.
I think it's becoming tougher for the consumer to pick one, if anything.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely becoming tougher for us as consumers to pick. And the reason why is that they are so close together, guys. I mean, other than Microsoft, who has a ways to go. When you look at the two that are battling out, Apple and Google, they are very close together. They are both doing the same things, essentially. They may be doing them a little differently, but they are doing the same things. And here would be what I would tell a consumer that's trying to make that decision. Do you want something that is relatively open, where you will have multiple choices in the hardware that you can choose from? Form factors, hardware, multiple vendors. Or do you want something that is you get one piece of hardware per year from basically that company, or you may get a variation from that company, but it only comes from one source. And if you want something that comes from one source and you have one make, one model, then iOS may be the way you want to go. If you want something where every year you might not want an aluminum phone, you might want a plastic phone, you may want a carbon fiber phone, you may want a Toyota versus a Mitsubishi. You know, the choice in hardware, that's where, to me, Android shines. So I think the incentive is clear. It has become a little clearer in that what Google is showing you is that we have multiple places for you to obtain these services. Regardless of where you are, wherever you are, we are. With iOS, it's if you don't have our stuff, you're not going to have our stuff. I mean, that's pretty much how I define it.
But I think you know, I really like this question, by the way, because I think that before it was a lot easier to kind of be part of both ecosystems.
Right.
You know, I mean, like I said, I have an iPad. Like I said, I use my MacBook Pro, and a lot of things that I saw Apple talk about at their keynote almost made me want to kind of do a little switcheroo there. You know, I said I love Android, but just because I want to experience something new, I want to kind of tie in my whole entire tech life, if that's the right word for it. But then here comes Google I/O, and then they solidify, Armando, you're in the right camp here. At least that's how I feel. But I think it's a lot more difficult because as both of these giants, start evolving, you almost have to just pick one side because they're not going to play nice with each other anymore. It's nice to see Google services on the iOS side. I mean, you see a lot of Google applications at work. So in terms of if you use Google, will you miss it if you go with iPhone? No. But, like the wearables, the car, the television, all that, even though I still believe that Google does like to play nice with iPhone, I don't think it's the other way around. How they tie that together, are there going to be limitations with the iPhone or, iOS devices with all of the new? By the way, like, this LG watch, obviously you can't use it with iPhone.
Right.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a Bluetooth, but do you see what I mean? I mean, now I'm certain that Apple is going to release their iWatch, or at least that's what we believe they're going to call it. It just sounds so, it's kind of predictable. But again, it goes back to what I was saying a little bit earlier. It's becoming difficult as a consumer to pick, and I would have trouble. I have a hard time recommending one or the other just because they're both good. I'm gonna give. I mean, you guys know this. I give credit to Apple when credit is due, and of course, I like a lot of the stuff that Android is doing. So that's what I have to say about that. Damir?
No, I agree completely. I don't have too much to say here because for me, iOS is still iOS. I like the look of it and everything, but it's too close for me. So but remember, I would like to try it, but I don't know if I could use it for the long term.
But remember, because they control the hardware and the software, it's sad because I don't think that Apple has really used that to their full potential.
Yep.
They because they're able to do that, they can do so much, and they should be really innovative and at the forefront.
They could, yes, sure.
And the fact that they're not, it's sad to say, but they're falling behind. They're slow. I mean, this last keynote, like I said, if you guys watched that video of mine on YouTube, I think it was one of the best keynotes, especially Tim Cook, who new CEO. Obviously, Steve Jobs is no longer here, so I think he did a really good job, and I think that they have the capability of really moving forward. But Google has to rely on other companies like LG, Samsung, and whoever else they can partner with to be able to come up with new devices, new hardware. Where Apple really doesn't. All Apple needs to do is just find what hardware manufacturer they're going to partner with, and give them the plans or whatever they're doing and make it work. So but that was a good question, Epic T. Thank you for.
Yeah, but right now I see it like this. Google has to show it off so Apple can invent it. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
All right. So Damir, you got a question you want to answer?
No, I didn't right now. Maybe someone of you can.
I do see a couple here about the same. And Armando, this is probably more
maybe we could check them off real quick.
Yeah.
I think we answered even some of them already.
I can delete the questions, but I've already checked the ones that we've answered, but it doesn't let me. As far as I know, it doesn't let me kind of. It would be nice to be able to swipe them away, right? Like cards.
Yeah.
That would be.
If only we had that operating system, right?
So here's a question. This is probably more for you, Damir, and you, Armando, since you guys live in this
world. So I can select.
It's Fabio Montanieri. Fabio, I hope I got that right.
Okay, here.
The question is, and it just moved on me. Okay.
Yeah, I saw that right now.
Yeah, will Android L Preview release be stable enough for daily usage? And then there's also another question by Brandon Owens. says the same thing.
Okay, so let's go ahead and answer that.
I'm going to do it too first. So his question is your daily driver a Nexus 5? And if so, are you going to try out the L preview tomorrow? So both of these are regarding the L preview
phone anymore.
Here's the thing. It is my daily driver, and that's the thing. If I would have another daily driver, I would definitely try it. But right now, I have to rely on it. If it's stable, and yes, but I don't think it's ready for it. Even if you have it, I don't know how much advantage you can take of it yet. It's maybe, if it's the same as on iOS, the beta 1, then you can use it as a daily driver anyway. It's the software, I think. But I don't know. I will have to see what others think first and then decide.
I think it's only as stable.
I don't have a second phone.
Yeah, I think it's only. I mean, as from the software perspective of just running Android in itself, I think it's stable. It's what makes it unstable is the applications that are not taking advantage of that runtime or all the additional features. I think that's when it becomes unstable. But I think if you're running just Android, all the Google applications and nothing outside. I mean, I'm saying not nothing, but depending on what applications you use, you may run into issues with applications crashing or not working properly. And I think that's developers have to eventually get on board with update.
So what I can say from now is if it comes just as a ROM, so I can flash it and make a backup of my old one, I think I'll try it just to see. But if I have to hard reset it or something like that, I'm not sure, because I need my phone.
Yeah.
Don't have the OnePlus yet.
What's that? No, I have OnePlus.
Don't have the OnePlus yet, so I can spare it.
All right, so here's a good one, and it's received a lot of. And by the way, I'm choosing the ones that you guys are voting. So if you guys do like questions, make sure you do vote for them. This has a 5+, and this is that guy with a Mac. You know what? I think I've seen him before on my YouTube channel. So welcome, that guy with a Mac. His question is, do you guys think Apple's continuity with iOS will ever allow Android owners to do the same thing with their Macs?
No.
Negative.
No.
No chance.
that would kind of...
That's the biggest selling point right now.
Yeah, that's their selling point. Is like, look what you can do with our hardware and software together.
Exactly.
That would ruin their walled garden experience, So no.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not. Next question.
I think we covered the next one. If they should make a full desktop OS, and definitely, I'd love to see that. I so hope maybe in the next 2-3-4
that
years.
Google should really prioritize in making a desktop OS. And you know what? I know everybody, including myself, I do love the cloud. I think that we are headed, towards that way. But I still believe that we're far away from eliminating, desktop applications. There's just
too many countries just can't rely on the cloud yet because of the bandwidth and everything.
Well, not only that. I mean, like even video editing, especially now with
of course,
4K, 6K, 8K, whatever, it's coming. Can you imagine trying to upload a video and trying to edit? I mean, I understand there's servers out there. You can edit your movie using their servers or whatever on the cloud. I mean, it's not something that is.
But did you see that one thing they just released maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago? Cyberlink Power Director, that's a video editor for Windows on Android. And I can't see myself doing real video editing on a touchscreen device.
No.
It's maybe a real quick video where you just have to cut, but anything you want to put on halfway amateur way, no.
Look, I mean, Google, Chrome, Linux, I mean, it's already there, guys. The foundation is there, It's just a matter of, I know Google can do it. So, all right, let's move on to the next question. I think we're just going to answer questions because we're about.
One thing I would like to see is Android apps run natively on Chrome OS. That would be pretty nice.
I think since we only have about 5 more minutes, let's go ahead and just answer your guys' question.
Yeah.
By the way, we are. I guess we'll choose with the ones that have the most plus ones because those are the ones you guys are more interested in. This is by Emanuel Zanetti. Sorry if I said your last name wrong. Do you guys think Android Silver was just an early name for Android 1 and that the Nexus lineup is safe? What do you think?
Jammar?
I think that the Android 1 is the Android 1. I think that Nexus Silver is the consumer-facing version of what we now know as Nexus. I think that, well, I'm sorry, let me correct that. I believe that Android Silver is now what we know of as GPE. I think GPE is Android Silver. It's the consumer market.
Yeah,
when you go to the store, those what we call GPE will be Android Silver devices. I believe that the Nexus lineup, to Damir's point, I believe that you will always have a Nexus device of some. There will always be a reference device of some type. In what form it will be in and what the availability will be, I question. And that's my viewpoint on it. I think that you have to have that reference device, as Damir laid out eloquently earlier on. You have to have it because Android is, by nature, inconsistent so far as hardware design. You have to have a central point and a reference device and something that people can develop on at a relatively low price. So I think that the Nexus line will exist. I just don't know if it's going to be the way.
Well, look at it this way. Look at the smartwatches, the Samsung and the LG Watch. They had to have Google had to have talked with both of these companies ahead of time to be able to make these reference devices. You know what I mean? So even though these are not Nexus watches per se, they are still reference devices because eventually now other manufacturers, now that everything's kind of out in the open, you know, the APIs are out, everything is, you know, there. Now other companies, let's say Sony, can come out and say, okay, now it's our turn to build, you know, our, let's just say, smartwatch. But Google chose Samsung and LG to build these reference devices because I'm sure this was something that they have already been working on for a long time, not something that they just kind of whipped up a week ago and said, look, we're going to put this on the Play Store and make it live. So I think that, just that. Do you have anything else to say, or will we just move on to the next one? We got a couple more minutes, guys.
Let's move to the next.
Let's move to the next one.
So, next one is, this has 6+. What do you think of cardboard? Are you going to build one?
Go ahead, Damir.
Sorry, I missed that part, I think.
That was the last part of the
Yeah.
He did watch that.
Okay.
So what was that?
So, Armando, did you want to jump into it, or did you want me to?
No, go ahead. I know. Go ahead.
All right. So Sundar Pichai at the end basically did the giveaway, and they gave all the developers an LG G Watch. Their choice of an LG G Watch or a Samsung Gear Live, which is a horrible name. And then they also told them that they would be receiving a Moto 360 when it was available, which I'm completely envious of. But on top of that, before he made those announcements, he said you will walk away with a piece of cardboard. And literally, Damir, he held up a piece of cardboard, probably about the size of a small book. And what that cardboard turned out to be was almost like a play on Oculus Rift, from what I've seen. Almost like you put your phone in it, and it gives you kind of like a VR kind of perspective. I mean, I think that it's a fun little Chrome experiment. I think it's just one of those kind of goofy things that.
Yeah, but what does it do? What's it for?
It gives you an Oculus. My dog is going crazy. It gives you an Oculus Rift experience without the Oculus Rift, more or less, it seems.
Okay. Yeah. I have to see that one.
It was fun. David Jung, what do you guys think about the new notification in the lock screen and the new notification drawer? I'll start with that. I already use applications that kind of do that, but I do like Google's way of implementing it. It's more consistent with the UI that we're obviously are going to be or familiar with, and I like that. I like that it's all integrated. I like that I don't need another third-party application. And I'm sure that the the capabilities, or not necessarily capabilities, but what you're able to, the integration. That's what the word I was looking for. The integration with the notifications is going to be a lot cleaner, smoother than other third-party applications that I currently use right now. At least I believe that's the way, according to what they said, how things get prioritized and stuff like that. So that's my take on it. I'm excited about it.
Can we quickly go to what was new in the notification drawer? I think I didn't see that either.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I mean, basically, the notification drawer, I think what they're referencing is actually the recent section, not really the notification.
Oh, okay, okay. I really like it.
I mean, personally, I didn't see anything new with the notification drawer in the demo.
Yeah, because that's what I was asking. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the recent section they may be referring.
If it's the recent, I think it looks great, but it's not that convenient to use. No.
Yeah, I mean, for me, recent.
No.
Go ahead, Damir.
No, go on. No, I think just I didn't use the recent one of Android, the stock one ever. So yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I thought it was a great implementation of the Chrome tabs. I thought it was great to throw those in there as part of it. That was.
I'll have to try it myself, but I don't think I will use it.
All right, guys. Last question before we disconnect here. 7+1s, and this is from Freddie V. What was the one feature improvement you really liked as opposed to others? So what was that? And I wanted to close it. That's a really good question, because what was that one feature that you were just like, this made my day? Little hard one to answer too, because there was a lot of good stuff that I think that it's going to take me some time to think about that one feature. If you guys want to go first, there's a lot of good stuff, by the way, and it's just I'm having trouble deciding which one to say that.
I have like a general thought, but it would be kind of cheating because it's the total.
Go ahead. Just tell us your general thought.
All right, so here's my general thought, and then I guess you got Armando. I guess you can feed off this, and Damir, you can kind of feed off this. For me, I don't think it was the one feature was the integration. They introduced continuity without having the devices with their branding on it, and what I mean by that is this. The use case that they displayed where the guy on stage had the Nexus 5 and he said, well, I got a message and it's on my watch, and then I can swipe it away here and it swipes it away on my phone. Oh, well, by the way, let me get in my car, and then my car will then talk to my phone once I plug it up. So it's continuity. It's everything that Apple introduced without you having to go buy a Google computer and then a Google phone and essentially. What Google has done is that they have built continuity on the back end. If you have an Android-powered anything, you have continuity between your devices, regardless of what OEM has, or regardless of what OEM device it is. You're going to have the continuity of Android, and that was what actually pulled me back, as Armando kind of touched on in the beginning. For me, when Apple stood up there and they were introducing some of those continuity features, I was like, oh man, this is killer. I mean, this is.
Yes.
Oh, but seeing him use the watch, just voice control, I was like, that's what I need right there. I mean, like the cooking time on the watch. So there were many features, but I think that the one feature was the continuity between the devices. It's exactly
what I said earlier. Google is a search giant. They control all of the search, and because they do that, they're able to do all of this stuff, the continuity. I mean. It goes back to what I was saying about Home Depot, being able to search that. Can you imagine I do a search on my computer, let's say I want to go to a fast food restaurant or something, whatever the case may be. I want to take my wife out to this nice restaurant. I Google it. When I get in my car, would you like to navigate to this restaurant? Boom, like that. Just hit yes without having to do anything. That is brilliant, Yes. To me, that is what it's all about, and you absolutely right. And I'm feeding off that energy, and I just want to jump up and. But yes, that is exactly I'm Googling something, and then I go onto my television and says, "Would you like to watch a review of that restaurant on your Android TV?" Yes. It's just, mind blown. Anyway, well, I need a drink.
Damir, what about you?
I think
you just cut me up, Jammar. Sorry.
I think I can narrow it down that easy because if I maybe say Android 1 wasn't that exciting because it sounded low end. Android Auto also because I don't have a car to use this. And Android Wear sounds great, but I still don't know which one I would get. I have to wait a bit to see because Moto G looks the best, but I don't know how good the circle display will be in the end. And Android L looked pretty much amazing. The material design, I liked it a lot, but mostly the new features were all just custom ROM features I already used for a long while. So that's nothing new or interesting for me. But it's nice to see it on stock, definitely. But the material design was one of the most nice features they introduced.
Yeah, I think the material was just basically saying we're going to
really
make we're going to make Android that beautiful software that everybody wants to use. Everything that, you know, when they say, oh, you know, but iOS is so pretty and iOS is just so, you know, nice. I think that you can no longer say that anymore with what's coming next with Android. And but Jammar, you really pumped me up. That, like you said, continuity. I'm still in my head. I'm still role playing the events that are going to happen when I wear, you know, Google Glass and I go to the restaurant. It says, you know, what on Google Glass it'll bring up the menu of what people like. Anyway.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The use case for the and it is continuity. They don't have to advertise it. They're not good at that. They're not good at marketing. That's not what Google. They're a marketing company.
Or customer support.
Yeah, or customer support. They're terrible at both.
Sorry, I had to throw that out there. So
no, it's
absolutely. But I mean, the use case that they introduced today was absolutely everything that I would need as a regular Joe. I get up, my alarm rings at 6 a.m. I pick up my phone. I put my watch on. My watch tells me now what's going on with traffic. It buzzes when I'm late. That's where I get that notification. That gets me on the road to get in my car, which already tells me.
Suddenly say, would you like me to reroute you to a different location? Because if you're, you know what I mean? Without you even having to, you're just driving down the road and it goes, traffic ahead. Would you like me to reroute you to and then it's just like, yes or no, yes, and then okay, Google or whatever. Oh man. Oh.
Absolutely, and then again, some of the features that they introduced today. For example, the one where they showed your Chromebook unlocking. Context is king. And I'll say it again. Context is king, ladies and gentlemen. And no one does it better than Google does. No one does it. The thing I missed about iOS when I was over there was Google Now. They have it, but it's a neutered version of it. So when I come home in the afternoon and I sit down in front of my Chromebox, and I have Chromebooks as well, and it unlocks when I put my phone down. Damn it, that is useful. That is useful. The trusted devices, that's all useful. So again,
I guess that's why I was disappointed with the home automation, because I would have loved for them to talk about how when you get to your door with your phone, the door will unlock. You know, kind of NFC. And I wish they would have said more about that. But
I think it's coming, Armando. But I think we're gonna get it from Nest. I think that's what's gonna happen. We're gonna end up getting it. Nest is gonna acquire some automation lock company, and then you're gonna come home and all that crap's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Damir, I felt like you were gonna say something.
Yeah, just one last thing. I just read the images for the preview are out, and somebody said CyanogenMod could make a nightly before the official release, but I don't think it will. I don't think it will be CyanogenMod. If it's the AOSP, it's good enough. CyanogenMod has a lot of other stuff to do right now.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Damir, Franc, Jammar Deboise, and myself in this Google I/O Hangout. We loved it. I hope you guys loved it. A lot of cool stuff. We're going to be tuning in probably next week for another live hangout. I think that's when we're due. We do one every other week. Oh, no, you guys just did one last week. So,
yeah, this was a special one. Yeah.
Follow us on the Droid Effect, or I'll post when the next live hangout is. And usually Brian Healy's the one that hosts those. So if you're not following him or subscribe to his channel, make sure you do so, because he's the one that hosts all of our Droid Effect live hangouts. He wasn't able to make it today. He's out partying like a rock star, I think.
Yeah, we were hoping he tuned in from the bar.
Yeah, I know, right? He was supposed to tune in, but so anyhow, guys, thanks for watching, and we will catch you in the next one.
Yes.
Adios.